UCLA went up to Autzen Stadium and it wasn't so good. The Bruins were blitzed by Oregon 60-13. UCLA is 3-4 as they host number 15 Arizona this week. Hey everybody, what's Bruin? I'm Jonathan Khamis, being joined by our UCLA beat writer Scott Reed, and that game was not pretty, Scott.
No, it got out of hand almost from the opening series and went downhill from there. Having said that, I wonder if anybody could have stopped Oregon the other night. I mean, I don't think there's a team in the country, Auburn, Alabama, LSU, who wouldn't have given up 40 points to that team.
Yeah, they have a team full of track stars, don't they? And it's one thing to get beat up by that many, but you were inside the locker room, and a couple of those Bruins players were kind of upset that Chip Kelly decided to go for a two-point conversion early, took a timeout late. What was the feel in that locker room?
Well, they definitely felt like they were disrespected, but they also said, you know, you have to be able to stand up and stick it back to them, and they weren't even close to that the other night.
Defense gave up 600 yards. Oregon didn't punt until the fourth quarter. How much of this is on the defensive schemes of Chuck Bullock?
The problem with UCLA is that oftentimes they weren't in the right scheme, or you had guys in different schemes. They weren't hearing calls. They were lined up. They missed assignments, and that's been a problem they've had all year, and that's on the coaching staff.
The offensive line as well hasn't been good all year. They've given up 20 sacks in 7 games. This game wasn't any different. Brijo, I thought, was effective at times passing the ball, but if you're not going to protect him, you're going to see what happened last Saturday where he makes some mistakes.
Right, and he was sacked and gave up a fumble that led to a touchdown the other night. The line has been really good in clearing the path to the run, but it's been abysmal in the passing protection. And like you said, 20 sacks, and you're not even throwing that many passes. That's a lot of sacks.
And for UCLA fans, Brett Hundley can't come soon enough, right? He's the next savior in line. But some more bad news for UCLA, more suspensions. Ricky Marvray and left tackle Sean Scheller are not going to be available for the game against Arizona.
Yeah, there's 2 huge hits for the passing game. A passing game that's last in the Pac-10, a passing game that's never really gotten off the ground. You lose your leading receiver in Ricky Marvray, and with Nelson Rosario, your big-time threat is out, probably still with an ankle injury. Then Sean Scheller is also key because he's the left tackle, and anybody has seen the movie The Blind Side knows left tackle is right. Key in the passing game. So they're facing an Arizona defense that's second in the country in sacks. Their 2 defensive ends, Brooks Reed and Ricky Elmore, are probably the best tandem of defensive ends in the country. Elmore leads the Pac-10 in sacks, so it could be a long afternoon for Richard.
Yeah, it doesn't make a good mix for UCLA.
No.
But let's talk about the violations, Scott. This is Ricky Marvray's 3rd drug violation as far as we know, and I think that this policy definitely needs to be more strict. I mean, he's already been caught twice now. Why did it take him the 3rd time to all of a sudden be remorseful?
Well, we asked him that the other night, and he didn't really have a strong answer. He said, well, now I'm going to clean up my act. But I asked him, you know, why after the 2nd time did you not get it together? And I think part of it is they know they have another chance.
Right.
And the UCLA people come back and say, well, it's supposed to be an educational system, and like on the first positive test, your coach doesn't even know that you've tested positive. You talk to counselors and try to get drug education. But yeah, I mean, three pops, and Ricky's a redshirt freshman, so he hasn't even been on campus that long. Josh Smith has been there barely a little over a year. Morrell Presley was another guy who's a sophomore. I mean, that's a lot of positive tests in a short period of time.
Yeah, to me that's just unacceptable. And Rick Neuheisel, I believe, was asked if there was a drug problem at UCLA, and what did he have to say?
He wouldn't comment on it at all. He obviously they're in spin control and and want to put the best face on it. And I mean, really, they just want to move on.
Moving on, Arizona this weekend, they defeated Washington 44-14. Nick Foles didn't even play in that matchup. He's questionable for this game. What can we expect out of the Wildcats?
They're going to be a handful no matter who plays the quarterback. The backup last week had 200-some yards, and is more of a running threat. I think he had 60-some yards on the ground. It's going to be a tough afternoon for UCLA.
Yeah, but saying that, I'm predicting an upset. I don't know why. They win, they lose, they win, they lose. Why not? UCLA defeats Arizona 28-25. Your thoughts?
I think something along the lines 28-23, but I think Arizona pulls it out.
Probably the safe bet.
I just think that they have too much firepower up front on defense for UCLA to get over the hump this week.
Okay, we will see this Saturday. That's going to do it for this edition of What's Bruin. Thanks for watching, and for all your latest UCLA information, be sure to check out ucla.ocregister.com.